Hello and welcome to How to Work a Virtual Career Fair. My name is Jill Thomas. I am a talent acquisition manager with Enterprise Holdings with Enterprise National in Alamo. Basically what I wanted to do today is talk about the upcoming WestPACs Career Fair and to give you some insight on how to work a virtual career fair. I know in this new day and age everything is changing and everybody has their own platform and it's all different, but career fairs are the same. The whole importance of that is to show up, talk about yourself, get some information about some employers, and make sure that you're ready to start a career. Obviously, you can see all my branding here today. I am going to share with you a PowerPoint. I did want to let you know, though, I have a QR code to our site. We will be at WestPACs, and I will be recruiting for our internship and full-time management training program. So feel free to take a snapshot and register. You can pre-register for us. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but I do want to get started here today. So basically what we're going to do, I'm going to hop right in and tell you a little bit more. So what we're going to do today, I'm just going to talk with you a little bit about preparing for the fair. Go time. So the day of the fair, what to expect, how to plan for that, how to make the cut. There comes a lot more to the fair than showing up and talking to a recruiter. There is some things that you have to do afterwards to make sure that you are getting seen. And there's a lot of follow-up that I want you to do. And then I will briefly touch on opportunities with Enterprise, but also just give you more insight on how to register and make sure you get a chance to meet with me. So first and foremost, we want to talk about preparing for the fair. Basically, what you want to do is you want to do a self-assessment, and again, I'll give you more details. We're going to talk about homework. Yes, I am giving you some assignments for the fair, but I promise you it will pay off. We're going to talk about materials. It is very important that you have an updated resume. This is going to look a little bit different at a virtual career fair. Typically, you would be able to hand that to a recruiter. There's no handing at a virtual platform. So I'm going to kind of walk you through what that looks like. We're going to talk about an elevator speech, how to control the conversation, how to make sure that you're getting everything that you need from that conversation. And then I will go in a lot more in detail and talk about the virtual platform. And especially with WestPACs, we are using Career Fair Plus, and I'll walk you through a little bit about what that's going to look like and what to expect. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is that self-assessment that we talked about. Obviously, the whole reason that you're at the fair is to talk about yourself and to sell yourself. So to do that, you really need to understand what it is that you're looking for, what you're good at, what it is that you like. So basically, what you want to look at is basically your short-term and your long-term goals. So short-term, where do you see yourself in a year, 3 years? So if you are maybe a sophomore and you know that you want to start looking at internships for junior year, but you're not quite sure what that looks like. Maybe you're a junior or senior, fall semester, knowing that you're going to be graduating in May, looking for that full-time career position post-grad. I want to make sure that you know how to start looking for those opportunities. So short-term goals are going to be more of, what I like. I've done these customer service jobs in the past. I really enjoy that. I did an internship where I sat at a cubicle and I sat at a desk, and I didn't love that, and I can't see myself doing that long term. But, I took the sales class and I really enjoyed it, and I love marketing, and I know I like people. So I know I'm looking for a plan, a career path in that area. Long-term goals, 5 to 10 years down the line. Where do you see yourself? So do you know that you want to be in a management position overseeing maybe a sales manager, an account exec? These are positions that you really see yourself doing well in and that you're interested in. Maybe you're an accounting major and you know that you want to, be a business manager or maybe be a controller someday. You have to start somewhere. So you have to look at these ideas, and you have to have these goals so that you can know where to get there. And what's this going to help when you talk to a recruiter is basically what you need to be able to voice that to them, how you're going to get there. So make sure you have your goals set out. And then obviously look at your personal skills inventory. Like I talked about before, what do you like? You've liked customer service in the past. What don't you like? So maybe, again, you sat at a cubicle and you didn't like that. So you're not looking for a desk job. Or maybe that is something. Maybe you really like analytics and you want to crunch numbers, and that's where you want to spend your time. So make sure you can speak to that. We always talk about strengths and weaknesses, right? But this is something that you should know, but also maybe how to play on that. So maybe you see yourself in an environment in sales, but you've never really been in that environment, or maybe you had a small job where you were offering products and services and you weren't that comfortable with the objection piece, but know you want to be able to work through that. Talk about that. This is what I'm interested, but I want some more experience. What can you do at your company? What positions do you have that can set me up and so that I can have success for that in the future? So again, look at this, do this self-assessment so that you are able to speak clearly to what it is that you want, like, and are looking for. Okay, so now we're going to talk about preparing for a fair, because as I mentioned, we just don't want you to put up on a suit and show up and hit play that day, right? So we want you to do your homework. Basically what I want you to do is plan, right? You can go into Career Fairs Plus, the app, and you can see what companies are registered as early as today. Keep looking though, because as the weeks go on, more and more employers will continue to register. But it's a great platform because you can see, number one, who's going to be there, what jobs that they are hiring for, and then there's also external links. So you can then go to that company's website and learn more about that company. And these are the things that I want you to do. So I want you to do that homework and really look at those companies and decide who it is that you want to talk to. The virtual career platform is a little bit different. So typically in a face-to-face, you have, about 4 or 5 hours to really work the room, make sure that you're getting face-to-face time with everybody. How a virtual platform is structured is there's schedules. So every company will have a schedule, and you have to register for a time slot. So you need to prepare for that. Those time slots will fill up very quickly. So I'm telling you today, as early as today, go online and pre-register for those time slots. Most companies will have multiple recruiters, they'll have multiple schedules, but make sure that you plan ahead. And if you register for a time slot, make sure that you are prepared to show up on time and be there, because again, there's a lot of people that want those time slots. And again, so once you do this and you know who you want to look at, again, I would have a top 5 company just to make sure that those are the ones that you want to hit. So what I would do is those top 5 register first, make sure you get that time slot, and then go and look at and see some more, and then maybe you don't know a lot about that company. Again, do that research, go to their company website, see some employee testimonials, look at, their values and their mission. And the most important thing is to really make sure that aligns with your values and your ideals, because you don't want to work for a company that you don't share that vision, right? So you want to make sure it's a place that you will be happy at. Work with your network, right? So you never know, maybe your neighbor or, an aunt or uncle maybe worked at this company in the past. Talk to them. Hey, what do I need to know? What do you know about the company that I could get started? Maybe some conversations that I can pull up with that recruiter. And then again, just make sure that you're looking at these opportunities on their website, get those bullet points and those buzzwords, look at the experience that they're looking for, and then go back to that self-assessment and determine how your experiences match up to what it is that you're looking for. Most importantly, with all of this homework, we don't want you to do homework and then not get credit for it, right? So keep a cheat sheet. So make sure you have notes on every company. I would do a 1-page notebook. Enterprise, privately owned and operated, hiring for an internship, management training program, sales, customer service, and leadership, nationwide. Make sure you're limited, you're bullet pointing all of this. Because when you're in that room with that recruiter and you're talking to 10, 15 companies in one day, that information can get jarbled. So make sure you have a clear notebook. And the great thing is, virtually, you can't see what I have in front of me. So have that cheat sheet, have those notes that you can follow up with when you are in that room with that recruiter. Okay, so some materials to prepare for the fair. And these are things that, at the virtual career fair, again, you won't be able to hand that. But I do want you to have, number one, a resume. Please make sure you have a well-written, mistake-free resume. I'm going to repeat that. A well-written, mistake-free, right? So I will be very honest with you. I had a resume that I had in college, and I was throwing it out there everywhere, and I didn't realize that I had spelled my last name wrong. I transposed the A and the M, and I didn't realize it because I looked at that resume 20 times, 100 times, right? And in my mind, it was spelled correctly, but it wasn't. So it's embarrassing, right? Do not let that be the first impression that you're putting out there. So make sure you have, someone else look at it. If you have a career service department, they're online, they're still in the office, send that over to them. They would love to help you look at that. But make sure that you have that resume, and it is very detail rich, right? So, what that resume is, it's a tailored sheet that's going to explain what your experience was, where you've been. Make sure that it's not just member of or president of this club. Those are things that I really look for. I look at what organizations that you've been involved in, what experiences that you have, and I want to see the detail. So if you're maybe the president of the business society and you increased your membership from 20 members to 75 one school year, I want to know more about that. So make sure you highlight that on your resume and talk about, the events that you did and the successes that you had. Maybe if you worked in had a part-time job during school and you worked at a restaurant and you were, you got the top sales for appetizers, or, you won those competitions. I know that sounds silly and maybe nobody really cares about that, but I do. And I want to see that detail because that shows your ability, and we're going to take those abilities and match that to our jobs. So the more detail, the more experience and definition that you can put in what you did at those jobs, it is known that recruiters spend about, on average, 6 to 7 seconds looking at a resume. However, if you give them something to look at, they're going to spend more time with that. So with that being said, obviously you can't hand that to a recruiter at a virtual fair, but I do want you to have that document updated, attach it to your profile, because when we do go into rooms and we meet with you as recruiters, we're going to pull that resume up and we're going to look at that, and we're going to talk about that with you as we go through. Make sure you follow up with the recruiter after the career fair and send them over a copy so that they have that. So be prepared for that. Make sure you have that and can speak to that. I put references on here because if you do have references listed on your resume or say references available upon request, I just like to give you a heads up. Call them. Make sure that they know people are going to be calling you, calling them for you, so they can give you a good reference. Cover letters are something, as you start to apply for jobs, I put this on here because I've seen very general and vague cover letters, and you can tell it's a template. If you are going to spend the time sending a cover letter and creating one, my recommendation is that it is tailored to that job. And the point of a cover letter is to give more detail about yourself that doesn't fit on the resume. So tell your story, be very specific to the position. If you're applying for sales jobs, accounting jobs, analyst jobs, this is where you want to specify exactly what that role is. So if it is a sales position that you're applying for, make sure everything on that cover letter talks about sales. Read that job description on their website and tailor, the bullet points that they have in their job description. Pull those bullet points out and put that in your cover letter and how you meet that. And then finally, cheat sheet. I talked about this already. When you're doing your homework, please, 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 for your sake, I want to help you. Create that cheat sheet, look at it, follow it throughout that career fair. Make sure that you have some notes so that that conversation, yes, organic, but also it's very specific, and you make sure that you're getting the most out of that. And the recruiter's going to tell that you did your homework and that you were prepared, and that's going to wow them, and that is going to sit very well with them. Okay, so now on to an elevator speech. I want to talk about how you introduce yourself and how you approach yourself. So one of my biggest pet peeves at any event is when I start to talk to a student or a candidate and they say, tell me what you got for me. Well, tell me what you have for me, right? We're here for you. So I want you to be able to control the conversation. So I want you to prepare an elevator speech. And what that is, if you haven't heard about it, it's a 15 to 30 second introduction to yourself. It just helps, again, control the conversation. The point it's called an elevator speech is it's the time that it would take if you hopped into an elevator with a hiring manager or a CEO of a company to go from the first floor to the top floor. That's the amount of time you have to introduce yourself and sell yourself, right? So that's the same point that we want you to do here at the career fair. Things that you want to include in that elevator speech is obviously your name, your major, when you're graduating. So what that does is when I'm talking to you and you say, hey, my name is Jill Thomas, I'm a junior, graduating in May of 22, I immediately know, yep, they're looking for an internship, or I have an internship that they would be perfect for, right? So it's going to help us know exactly what position we want to talk to you about. I'm going to obviously want to put in there the reason you're there, right? And that also helps us. Why are you here today? Are you looking for internship opportunities? Are you looking for full-time positions? Have you already graduated and you're ready to start work now, right? That's, again, going to help us. So tell us that, and then just give a brief introduction. Again, you want this to be organic, so you don't want it to be too robotic and too practiced. But as long as you have an elevator speech prepared, it's going to help you control that conversation. So, for an example, if I walk into in a virtual room with a recruiter, I would say, "Hi, my name is Jill Thomas. I am a junior marketing major at Penn State. I have worked at a bank for about 4 years, the whole time I've been in college. I love the customer service aspect. We do some referrals, and I've really got a taste of a sales environment. I'd love to get more exposure to that, and I'd like to use that in a career path. I see that you have an internship with a management trainee role that is sales, customer service, and leadership. So it sounds like it would be perfect for me. Can you give me some more information about that?" Easy, right? But the point is practice. Have something planned. But what that's going to do is, again, it's going to control the conversation. It's going to give you a great first impression, and it's going to help that conversation quickly. Because I promise you, these very short conversations, these one-on-ones with recruiters, they go fast. So you want to make sure that you're getting the most that you can out of that. So prepare to introduce yourself. Okay, so finally, the platform. This is the biggest thing, right? So obviously, when you are going to the fair, every platform is different. I know schools are using Handshake, some are using Brazen. At WestPACs, we will be using Career Fairs Plus. It is very similar to all of those other platforms, but I want you to prepare ahead of time. So what you can do is you can go into Career Fairs Plus, and you can do all those things. You can review the company, you can schedule your time slots, you can basically create a profile. And I want to make sure that you do that. Put in there, you can put your graduation year, your major, your GPA, you can upload your resume. The reason I tell you to do this is, again, it's going to help when we as recruiters go to click on your appointments, and we're going to see all this information. It's just going to help control that conversation. So make sure that you spend time with that profile, because it is the first thing that we see, and it's going to help. Again, pre-register for those appointments and for those time slots. I do not want you to miss speaking to one of those companies. So if you're registered already today, if you haven't already, register for the event, schedule a time slot, and then I want you to practice. I want you to practice that technology because it's new for all of us. The platform has some great Q&As. They have videos that show you, what the appointment looks like and what to expect. You can even practice with that. So really make sure that you're using that, and you're using that feature ahead of time to do that research. Because again, you want to make the most out of your day. Okay, so the day of the event. So basically what you want to do is you want to dress for success. I know it's virtual, and I know we've all been home and we have our Zoom attire, but basically you want to make a first good impression, right? So I would, be professional. Throw a blazer on. If you have your leggings on, that's fine. We're not doing that. But you feel good. Make sure you are well polished. You look the part, right? So be professional, show up and wear professional attire. Smile, make eye contact. Again, we're not face to face, but we pretty much are. The only thing between us is a screen. So continue to make eye contact, talk, smile, be yourself, let your personality out there. Again, keep it professional and be confident. Be confident in your experiences. The one thing that I always hear students, and I think it's a humbling thing. They don't want to talk about themselves or sell themselves, but don't ever say, I don't have a lot of experience, because as soon as you say that, we're going to think, okay, well, you don't have experience. So talk about your experiences, talk about your, if it's been volunteer, organizations, clubs, work experience, all experience. Talk about it, be confident in that, and make sure you're tailoring that experience to what that job's looking for. Check your background, right? So I have this screen because I'll be honest, I'm at home, and I'm in an office with a lot of golf memorabilia behind me. So I throw up a background. But if not, I don't expect you to do that. Just find somewhere with a clear background, a clean wall. If there's a door behind you, shut the door. I've seen a lot of roommates. I've seen people come out of a bathroom in a towel. If you know that you're going to be home and there's other people or roommates around, please let them know to give you some privacy and to limit those distractions. It just, we get it. I think if anything, this virtual world has been very, we all give each other a little bit of grace and we're all real, but it also, I know it can kind of throw you. So just be prepared for that and check for those distractions and noises. If you are somewhere in a busy environment, because that's the place that you have to be, put some earbuds in and block out that noise so that you can give you and that recruiter that undivided attention. Okay, so what to expect, right? This is new for all of us. These virtual events are a little bit crazy. They're actually super easy and they go by very quickly. I want you to prepare for that. The short time that you have with a recruiter goes by fast. So I want you to control that conversation, have that elevator speech ready, be prepared to talk about yourself, and make sure that you get what you need out of that recruiter. Make sure you ask them about their experiences, how to apply. Make sure your camera is on. We have the abilities in 2022 to be virtual. Turn that camera on, talk to that recruiter, look them in the eye, let them know who you are. Again, it's quick. It's a quick conversation, so use that 10 minutes to your advantage. Really make sure that you have plans. Some platforms will have an opportunity to do a larger event or a group conversation, so they can set up it's basically like a Q&A. Enterprise does it. It's like we do, just a big opportunities. So that's more of a time, and if you are able to do that, I recommend, for instance, myself, I'll schedule those one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and then I'll do time slots after that. Typically about 50 or so people can join those. If you're able to do that, I highly encourage you to sign up for one of those first, and that way you hear the most about the company. You'll hear about the experiences and the opportunities that they have, and then so you can sign up for an individual appointment after that, and you've already heard the basics, so then you can just talk about yourself. So if you have the ability to do that, I recommend that. If not a big deal. Just make sure that you're ready to talk and get as much information as you can out of that, those few minutes that you have. Some will have a chat room feature, right? So if you're in that large setting and you have questions, utilize that. But be engaged, be ready to be called upon, or be ready to ask your question, and just make sure that you're utilizing that time. And that's the whole point of this, is if you're showing up, we want to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. Okay, so make sure, wrap up, right? Make sure you do your elevator speech. You show up. This is my biggest thing, especially with a virtual event. If you schedule a time slot, that is your time slot and no one else can do that. That recruiter is there, they want to talk to you, but they also want to talk to as many people as possible. So if you schedule a time slot, make sure you show up. If a day or two prior to the event, you know that you're not going to make that appointment, please cancel that so somebody else has an opportunity. It's super important to make sure that you are there. And also, if your appointment starts at 11:10, make sure you're there at 11:10, right? Even if a conversation runs short with a recruiter, we are all going to be respectful of everybody else's time, so just kind of plan for that. Most important, smile, let that personality out. But most importantly, listen. Listen to the recruiter. They are going to tell you when their jobs are open, how to apply, where to find those positions. Take notes. Listen to what they tell you, because if they're telling you, hey, I encourage you to apply on December 1st when our internship is open, that means that they want you to apply to their job. So write it down. Make sure on December 1st when that job is open, you apply. And then always thank that recruiter, thank them for the information and their time, and make sure that you follow up. So we're going to talk about that very briefly. Following up and making the cut. I promise you, when you follow up, we see it and we respect it. But also, you just put all this time and effort into planning and preparing and talking with these recruiters and getting all this information for your future. Make sure you utilize that. Send a recruiter a thank you note. If you had a really great conversation and you made a connection with that recruiter, put that in there. Hey, we had a brief conversation about how we both went to, Cal U, and, maybe you both worked at the same restaurant in college or something. You had a connection. Remind them of that. Reintroduce yourself and let them know again how interested you are in the position, and thank you for the time. I don't recommend calling recruiters. You will have their phone number if you have their contact information. especially some people like me, you know, a lot of the times we're not working in the office right now, and, you know, those phone calls get lost. So make sure you send an email. We'll save those emails and we can follow up easier on those. But again, if that recruiter told you to apply, apply. If they told you that they're going to be having virtual interviews on campus, through, you know, maybe Handshake on campus, make sure you're signing up. Make sure you're able to follow up through those other platforms that they'll be using. All right, so again, you just got a lot of information. They're going to be sending you information. They're going to be sending you follow-up emails. All of us recruiters are, because we're not in front of you. So you're going to get lots of info after the fair. Make sure you create some type of email filing system. Make sure that you're able to file that away and follow up with that in the future. Because again, maybe you're a sophomore and talking about internships, but you're not eligible to apply for another year, or you're a junior looking at full-time positions. You know, you're not going to be ready to apply today. So make your notes, file that away. So in a year from now, you can pull that back out and say, yep, I was really interested in this position. This is how I can apply. Here's that recruiter's contact. Let me follow up with her again, or him again. And again, be accessible. If they're telling you that they're doing interviews next week, make sure you're available. You know, if you are working, make sure you can kind of give yourself some freedom, so that you don't miss those opportunities. All right. So that's basically how to work a career fair. Again, as I mentioned prior, I work for Enterprise. I will be at WestPACs at the career fair with Enterprise, right? So all of us know Enterprise. We are a rental car company. We pick you up. But we're a lot more than that on a professional level. What we hire for is our full-time management training program and our internship opportunity. We are one of the largest recruiters for college grads for a reason. It's a great entry-level opportunity with a lot of room for advancement. With that, this shows you a little snapshot of our career path. You know, it's a promote from within culture. Everybody starts as a management trainee and moves their way up. Usually within 8 months to a year, you'll find your first promotion. Moving into assistant manager within a year, branch manager within 2 years, you get a company car at branch manager level. There's so many great opportunities with Enterprise. I've been with the company for 12 years. Which is crazy to think about. I started post-grad, I was a marketing major, knew I wanted some sales and I wanted to be into a management position in the future. So I came to Enterprise, and then 12 years later, I'm still here. I've been promoted 8 times in the 12 years that I've been with Enterprise. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I've had a lot of success. You know, if you talk to anybody at Enterprise, they've had that same career opportunity and that same advancement. So if you are interested in more information on the internship, which is an accelerated path into that full-time role post-grad, and you're interested in our management training post-grad or currently, please make sure that you stop by and visit me at the fair. I'll have a schedule, I'll have a team with us, schedule those times. You can see our jobs currently, they are posted at careers.enterprise.com. Also, I put that QR code up there so that you can pre-register for that event with us. You can schedule today. But I hope that I helped you. I hope that you're a little bit more planned and excited about the career fair now. I promise you it's new for everybody, but we're all in this together, right? We've all heard that for a long time, but I'm excited to meet you regardless if it's virtual or in person. So please make the most of it. Make sure you plan. And I thank you so much. And I can't wait to see you at the fair.